remembering the tragic events of 9/11. We return you to the Opie and Anthony Show. Original air date, September 11th, 2001.
And I even talked to one woman who survived and made her way out of Tower 2 before it collapsed.
Down 92 floors, and I stopped on the 70-something floor because they said everything was okay, and the second plane crashed.
Into the second building, right?
Yeah.
That's what happened? So it was the first Tower 1 was hit first?
Yes.
Oh, my God. And now,
again, Lower Manhattan is under lockdown right now. People who live here are obviously thankful to be alive, but now their thoughts are turning to how are they going to get home and where are they going to spend the night. Eileen LaPalmer, 1010 Wins, live on Hudson and Duane Street.
All right, and we are back with the Opie and Anthony Show. That's our sister station, of course, 1010 Wins here in New York City. But Anthony and I are not in New York City. We're on Long Island. We could not get in the city. They've pretty much closed down Manhattan, as you know by now.
Yeah.
And
hey, what's going on, fellas?
Hey, Keith, what's up, man?
Oh, we're just sitting here like in awe, just staring at it, you know?
Where are you right now?
We're about 10 blocks away.
10 blocks away and still just smoldering and things burning down there, huh?
And you're just looking up in the air, and it's just like, it's amazing, you know?
Yeah, two of the biggest buildings in the world were there, and now they're gone.
I mean, everybody's here. Other states have come to help us, and it's just really, it's unbelievable. I'm at a loss for words, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, we're just waiting to see more about what's going on and, you know, what we could do to help. But it's just, you know, they called everybody in. And
yeah, the emergency vehicles I saw when I was coming out here to Long Island, coming in the other way, I mean, from everywhere out on Long Island, they were just sending truck after truck of emergency vehicles out there.
You know, waking us up out of bed and bringing us in, and you know, you just sit and we sat and looked at it, and it's too incredible for words.
So Keith, are you just sitting and waiting for your orders right now? There's nothing you could do at this point, or
we're basically just, you know, going around the area, picking up, you know, residual stuff that's going around outside of the area, and you know, they have everything else staged inside.
You got any word on injuries of any of the NYPD or any fire department? Or
we know there are, but we don't have any facts.
Yeah, jeez, man,
no.
That's too much. Where were you right when it happened? You were off duty?
I was off duty. I was at home, and then they called us all in. So, I mean, it's just boring just to sit and just look at and see this just billowing smoke and nothing there.
Now, are there fires out of control down there, or?
You know, like I said, I'm about 10 blocks away. I really don't know the heart of what's going on down there.
Mm-hmm.
It's you know, things are sketchy.
Okay.
But you know, I'll if I have anything that I can pass on.
I'm sure all of us will know a lot more tomorrow.
Now, is there debris as far as you are?
Not. Yeah, maybe. You know, we're probably on the outskirts of it.
Like that dust they're talking about, the volcanic dust.
You've seen a lot of people walking around just covered in it.
Right.
Yeah, they're showing people on the TV that are just, their eyes are beet red and they're covered in this white dust.
The hospitals are just out in the streets. You know, hospitals, just the streets are closed and they're just treating people out in the streets.
They just showed Yasser Arafat, Opie, on the CNN. Who also, him too, saying, despicable act. Oh, it's terrible. He's another one who should pay with his life.
All right, gentlemen, I got to go.
Okay, Keith. If you find out anything, please give us a call. You're pretty close.
Okay.
All right, man. Thank you.
No problem.
It's safe to assume, I guess, they're done with their terrorism here for the day. I hope. It's like, I hate reading, they're closing this and these people have been sent home and stuff. They're done. They did it. They're long gone, you know? Like locking up the barn after the animals get out.
Yeah.
Done. Oh, and here's some more footage of the people celebrating in their dirty country that will soon be bombed out, I hope. Damn, I hope so.
All right, why don't we take more phone calls, because everyone has a reaction. Everyone has someone that works downtown.
Mm-hmm.
I finally got word that most of the people that I know in that area, as far as family, are safe. You know, everyone is going through that same process today, trying to locate, family members and friends.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, guys.
Hey. Matt, what's up?
I just wanted to, first of all, say I love you guys' show.
Well, today's not a day for that crap.
I know that. It's the first time I've gotten through, but I usually go through the Pentagon. Today, for some reason, I was early to work, thank heavens, and because the metro stops are right in the Pentagon.
Phew, wow.
And, yeah, I mean, getting into the city, I was fine, and all the stuff was going on in New York, and then they evacuated us from our building. My building's right across the street from the FBI building, and it was eerie getting out of there. I mean, you're walking up. I live about 20 blocks up from the Pentagon, and as I'm walking away from the Pentagon, you can see how black the charred side of the building, and it's just.
How insane is it that they were able to hit the Pentagon?
Well, have you ever been down here?
Hell yeah, many times.
Okay,
flown in.
But National Airport is right there.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
It's a pilot makes an error, and in a plane that big, you're there at the Pentagon. I mean,
yeah.
So I've also heard reports that a fighter jet was following that plane. So
really,
and I also heard another fighter jet has brought down a Learjet, not shot it down, but escorted it down.
I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah, and possibly the one in Pennsylvania was shot down.
Well, yeah, we'll find out in the coming days. It's just amazing. They used, like Anthony said earlier, our own planes. Our own planes again. Who would have thought that this was possible?
Right.
Maybe one hijacker, maybe two,
Mm-hmm.
but we're talking at least four?
These are 4 planes, our own planes, American and United. I guess that was a conscious decision they made there, too. Things you take for granted. You look up, they're up in the sky all the time, these planes, Hey, who cares? You don't think they're going to crash into our buildings. You think about, they're going to take a boat maybe, like they did with the coal and go into the side of one of our military vessels or something.
Or maybe a Ryder truck or...
Yeah, the Ryder truck full of a fertilizer bomb or something. But, these are our own planes. And now, how long after the World Trade Center bombing in '93 did you always look at the Ryder trucks, right? Mm-hmm. You always looked and went, oh, gee, a little suspicious there, Now you hear a plane going over, and these guys have succeeded in doing what they do. They're terrorists, and their job is to instill terror in the people. And now, the thing you've taken for granted for years, a plane flying over, is going to give you that uneasy feeling like, hey, this is exactly what those people heard before it smashed into their building.
And at any given time, you see a plane in the sky if you're in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Guys, and my roommates are all police officers down at the Pentagon, and I haven't heard from them at all today.
See, that's scary.
Yeah,
man.
One of them's on the SWAT team, and another 3 are security, officers down there. So.
Yeah, this is kind of a bonding thing for the JFK listeners and the NEW listeners here in New York, because it's two cities.
The good thing about the Pentagon was where they hit, they had just remodeled, and they were getting ready to remodel one further down the hall, and it doesn't look like all the many offices that could have been filled were filled.
Right. From what I heard on the news also, the other side of the Pentagon was really the money target that it seems, thank God, they missed.
Yeah, that's facing the water, and that's, they always thought that an attack would come from that side of the water side, because that's where all the brass sits and all, it's just eerie.
And then there was a report in your area that was false, thank God, that the local police saw a plane coming right up the Potomac.
Yes.
Up
the Potomac. See, well, that's the
and everyone was just completely freaking going, okay, where's that plane going to end up?
Right.
Well, the speculation you get on a lot of these newscasts, they want to be the first. They want to get the info out. I heard earlier that there were 8 planes unaccounted for, and apparently that wasn't true. 4 planes.
2 came from Logan Airport.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you can only assume that their MO here was to take a plane that was going to fly from Dulles to L.A. or from Boston to L.A. And then shortly after takeoff, hit a target because they're full of all the fuel they need to get all the way across the country. A flying bomb.
Yeah, better than any bomb you could build and sneak into.
And they don't have to sneak it onto anywhere. They don't have to put it in a truck. They don't have to do it's the plane itself is the bomb. They've used our own aircraft as their bombs.
But Anthony, they had to have a weapon to.
Right. That's what we were saying, in order to hijack the plane. Well, that's what we were talking about a little earlier, the Mickey Mouse security at these airports.
That's true.
It's
very true.
It's a pain in the ass, and it does nothing. It does nothing.
That stupid question they ask all of us.
Right.
About did you pack your own bags? Did your bags leave your site?
I am one of the strongest advocates of rights to privacy and whatnot. I've always been. The one place I would give up some of my rights to privacy is the goddamn airport. You know why? I'm not taking weapons in, and I'm not taking drugs through, and I have no problem. I'm just trying to get from point A to point B safely. So you know something? You want to check my baggage? You want to really do an in-depth work, a job on who I am and what I'm doing there? I got no problem with that.
I'm with you there,
I got no problem there. But you know something? At the counter, asking you if you packed your own bags or if they were out of your view, that's bull. It does nothing.
They should scan them. I mean, I'm sure they
scan them, X-ray them, do everything.
Scan them right there.
Somehow these guys had to have gotten weapons on that plane to intimidate the crew into giving up their aircraft or kill them or whatever they did. I'm sure we're going to find out later on. But how did they do that? On 4 different aircraft.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Right.
All right.
And I also heard the one in Pennsylvania that went down was possibly going to Camp David, which is just north of here.
Well, there was rumors that Camp David was hit. I heard that on the way to this studio
and then one
today.
fell short.
That was false because that was the plane in Pennsylvania that went down.
Yeah. All right, bro. Thanks for the info.
Take care,
appreciate it. All right.
Bye.
Washington checking in.
They're saying that all air travel canceled in the U.S. until the earliest noon tomorrow. Which is
canceled.
It's surreal to look up anywhere in this country. You look up, you will not see a passenger plane.
It's not just America. Most of the world has canceled flights.
Yeah, that was another surreal moment. Was when I walked out on my balcony at my apartment, and I hear fighter planes over Manhattan. That was the only aircraft that was flying. You don't see them, but you hear them, and you know the roar of those engines are military aircraft. And you're like, oh my God, we've reached the point where we now need fighter aircraft over New York City to protect it.
And warships on the way.
Yeah, I saw military ships going up the river, up the Hudson.
All right, Pete from, I believe, CBS Sports these days.
Yes.
Hey, Anthony.
Pete, what's up, man?
A couple things.
Yeah.
I fly probably more than anybody you know.
Yeah, you fly a lot. He covers all the what you were affiliated with the NBA.
Right.
And
now
you traveled all over to the games.
I travel at least once a week, and I will gladly wait online for 3 hours every time I fly, if I have to make sure that they can strip search me for all I care at this point.
I get annoyed waiting at airports if I have to wait because somebody's carry-on's too big or they don't have the right ticket or something. That annoys the hell out of me. But if it's for safety's sake and I know it's really going to make a difference, I don't think anybody would argue.
But human nature is such that you say that today and a couple of months go by and people are like, oh, you know what? I just want to go to L.A. Come on, move it along.
Well, you know what? Then all the people there should carry around the little portable DVD player and show the plane hitting the building and go, okay, you want to maybe wait a little longer?
I'm just saying I agree with you, but human nature is such. None of us want to wait. None of us want the hassle.
It is.
You just want to get to your location as soon as possible.
You're right. This is different, though. I think this is big enough. This is Pearl Harbor. This isn't.
Yep. There you go.
Oklahoma City was big, obviously, and the World Trade Center the first time was big. This is off the charts.
The response to this is, I believe, I hope it is, but I really believe it is going to be so big. I think it's going to make the Gulf War look small compared to what we have to do now to respond to this.
And speaking of war, you guys know during the war in Croatia, I visited friends and family and visited a friend on the front line, so I've actually witnessed war.
Yeah.
And for the first time in my life in America, I mean, I'm out in the suburbs. I wake up and I see this on TV, and then I walk out of my yard. I look up in the air and I see 4 military helicopters fly by, and I'm thinking, this is war again.
You're thinking, which country are you in?
Right. I mean, I've seen it.
You've seen it in your homeland.
I'm telling you, I'm having flashbacks. This is if Americans don't know what war is.
See,
this is war.
You're right. Everybody has that little emotional moment watching stuff like this. And when I was coming in, I saw South Manhattan just smoldering. and it was an act of war. It was a bomb that went off there. I don't care. It was a bomb made out of an airplane, a jet. It was a bomb, and you see southern Manhattan burning, and a warship in the river, and then you look and there's the Statue of Liberty right out there in the river, and it's just you realize, oh my God, we're at war here.
Yeah.
This is a war.
I'm in suburban New Jersey, and I'm looking at war, military helicopters flying by low.
Yeah, you look at the footage on the news. There's refugees that could be from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Sure, they're dressed a little better. They're carrying their briefcases, but they're no different. They're people that have been displaced by a military action, and they're walking home just like you would see anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, guys, you're doing a nice job. I'm enjoying listening. Do continue, and I'll see you guys soon.
All right, Pete. If you have anything else, give us a call, because we're just kind of making this up as we go along today.
I'll tell you, you're going to hear hundreds of little, just personal stories. I can tell you right now. I know you guys know Jim Bell, who worked with us.
Yeah.
He was actually flying home from Europe this morning.
Oof.
And I called his wife, knowing that, and she said that he called her once he landed in Canada, so they diverted him to Canada. The idiots on the plane, the pilot actually announced to the passengers what had happened while they were over the Atlantic.
Oh man!
My God.
Can't you just say, "Hey, I'm in the mood for some Canadian food or something"?
How about some Canadian bacon?
Yeah.
She was pissed. I mean, she was telling me. I mean, I haven't spoken to him yet. He's still on the plane in Canada. They won't even let him off the plane. But he was actually in midair over the Atlantic, and the pilot came on and announced that two planes had struck the World Trade Center. So, I mean, you're going to hear stories like that. There's going to be a million different little stories. There are personal stories, but, I mean, it's
Pete,
all bad.
Pete, I just flew home from Athens last week, and Ant and I were telling the stories on the air, that helpless feeling you get just in general being over the Atlantic Ocean. And then Could
you imagine?
No, not at all.
Could you imagine having to listen to that?
No.
I mean,
and I was, when I came in, because we took our vacation at the same time last week, and you come in from Florida, and I was coming into Kennedy Airport, and you pass by Manhattan, and you always look out and just you're amazed by the view. I don't think there's many cities around the country that when you come in a jet that is so impressive as Manhattan. And to just imagine that part of that skyline was just destroyed by terrorists is amazing.
I just pray that in the next few days I don't have to attend a funeral, and the same goes for everyone that's listening. I just think that the odds are against it, but
we've all been personally affected by this. You'll see.
People from high school, college, or anyone from the New York area. I mean, some way, unfortunately, you're going to know someone who was involved. Hopefully not to that degree.
That statement just gave me the chills, Pete. Thank you.
Well, it's
but you're right. You're right.
I don't know. I'm telling you, all morning I'm sitting there. I don't know if I should cry, scream. I have a headache.
It's just, you know what I am? I'm so pissed off. I'm pissed off, but it's also a feeling of helplessness that, you're watching this and there was nothing you could do about it. There is nothing you can do about it. I keep going into detail, imagining what it might have been like on the planes and those bastards that were just probably smiling as they drove these planes into the sides of these buildings. It makes me sick. And again, as we watch here in the studio, one of the towers just crumble into the ground, and you sit and watch, and it pisses me off.
The only hope I have is it took from the first plane's impact to when the first tower collapse was over an hour, I think.
Yeah.
So I can only hope that anyone that was on the floors beneath.
Well, Pete, that gave people a chance, but you know what?
Yeah,
that's
a long time.
That's a quick hour though, when you have to walk down all those flights of stairs because the elevators are either packed or not working.
I'm sure they weren't working.
Unfortunately,
I'm sure a lot of people were able to escape, but I don't know, man.
A lot of emergency workers too. Those guys.
An hour, so I'm hoping that most of the people did have time to get out. That's my only.
A lot of emergency workers, too, are going in there. We're going in looking for people to make sure that people got out. And, you can only hope they were called out before the buildings collapsed.
Yeah, what amazed me about this whole thing is how easy it was to do.
Yeah, and
it's incredible.
It's like, didn't they have a clue? Usually they have a clue when something, is in the works with these terrorist organizations.
Here you go.
And
And I'll get on my soapbox once again with this. We went through 8 years of prosperity here in this country. Everybody was in the stock market. A lot of people made a lot of money. Relative peace when Clinton was in office. No one noticed that the ball was being dropped as far as things like intelligence goes. And the military and things used to be in place that would catch stuff like this before it happened. You'd get an inkling of a terrorist group getting ready to do something. And something of this magnitude, there should have been some smell in the air that something was brewing. But we all did nothing. We were very happy here in this country. And the administration that was in office 8 years, Clinton and his pals, and I'm not pointing the finger of blame here because the terrorisms are 100% responsible for this. But there should have been something in place over the last 8 years that could have detected that something was happening. And we dropped the ball there. Well, and that's got to be addressed.
Yeah, that'll be addressed probably in a few days. Obviously, the concern.
Why? How could a terrorist organization organize something? A lot of people have to be involved to pull something like this off. It isn't four guys going, hey, you get this plane, I'll get this plane, and we'll crash it. It takes a lot more people that either remained quiet or there wasn't enough intelligence in place to weed out any inkling that this was happening. So we got to step things up there, I think.
Yeah. Millions. I mean, millions, and God knows how much money taxpayers pay for intelligence and all that stuff.
Well, in the last 8 years, I think it was more important to put that money elsewhere for some reason. We totally forgot that the threat isn't with the Soviet Union anymore and missiles and ICBMs. It's with things like this, with small boats going up to our ships and people in our own planes now crashing into buildings. I mean, we got to put things in place, intelligence that could weed this out.
And you're right about the bastards. They waited for the LA flights, the California flights, so they'd have full plane of fuel.
Full tanks of fuel, yeah.
Exactly right.
Bastards,
all right, Pete.
All right, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Take care.
Pete Radovich from CBS Sports. Al, okay.
Oh,
Al,
hey.
What's up, Al?
Yeah, I work in the trade center, man. I got out of there. I was treated and released just about 40 minutes ago. Now I'm back in Staten Island.
You're not BSing with us, because this isn't the day to BS, man.
No.
So what happened? You got to work at what time today?
Well, I got to work early this morning, earlier than I usually do at 8:30, and then I'm screwing around in the building, and the explosion happened, and I was lucky enough not to be on my floor, which is 97.
Get out of here.
Yes.
What floor were you on?
I was in the 50s. I was on 53.
And where did the plane hit?
It hit in about the 80s, actually.
The first one, right? It was a lot higher. Okay.
Oh, Opie and Anthony, you never felt such drama in your life. I mean, people were literally, beside themselves, running around crying.
Yeah, it's pretty dramatic stuff.
My heart is beating still just thinking about it.
All right, so the explosion hits, and what's the first thing you do?
Well, nobody knew what it was. Nobody had any idea. We were baffled. So, most people are walking around like, what was that? Was it an explosion? Where's that coming from? Some people are heading for the exits. Some people are at their desks still trying to talk on the phone.
Right.
It was such mayhem. But finally, we found out exactly what had happened, and some people started heading for that area of the building.
Why the hell would you do that?
That's what I'm wondering.
You know what it is? We aren't used to stuff like this, so we're fascinated by it, and we feel like we can't get hurt. This is America. If a plane crashed into the side of a building, hey, I'm going to go see.
Yeah,
we're a nation of rubberneckers, and it kills people.
Let's go check it out.
They were looking at the Grand Canyon or one of those things.
Right.
It was sightseeing. It was unreal. There were people running through the building taking photographs with their digital caamras.
Get out of here.
I swear to God.
Oh. All right, so then what did you do? Did you head
I left. I went to the street, and now of course, I'm
But, were the elevators working?
No, well, actually, depending on what department you work for. But I made it to the street with not a problem. We were out of the building within 6 minutes.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, and debris was everywhere. It looked like nuclear fallout.
Yeah, just dust all over for blocks and blocks.
Then, of course, you know the rest of what you've seen on TV and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. So where were you when the second plane hit?
I was outside the building. I actually saw it. I'm actually there when it exploded. We feel the heat. We feel the compression. It was so horrific. Horrific is the only way I can explain it. The worst nightmare of life.
And people just screaming everywhere?
Yeah, now what I want to get through to you is that all the people who made it and went to treatment centers, they're full of debris and dust. I have a contention that is asbestos-filled. That's why I'm calling your show. Anybody leaving for home, you must take off the clothes you're wearing and put them in plastic bags before you infest your family. They're going to come out on the news with reports that inhalation of asbestos particles have been imminent.
You know something? The buildings were built before they did that.
Listen, guys,
whole anti-asbestos
it's very
thing,
important that you let this message go out on the air. Anybody who is in the area covered with dust, you must bag your clothes.
Let's not start a panic.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, but it's very important. In 30 years
I know that they have done, and the codes do say that over the past few years they've had to replace the asbestos that have been in buildings.
What's called the friable asbestos.
Right,
that's
usually
the stuff that's cracked up and ready to be, airborne. So the original stuff that was still nice and compact is still in the building. Guaranteed, because I know, because I'm a fireman. Not a fireman that you see riding around on the trucks, but the guy who runs a boiler system.
Right.
An engineer type. And the asbestos is all over the building. It is all over the air. It is now all airborne, all throughout Manhattan and throughout all the other boroughs now, too.
Wow.
Hey, did you see anyone jumping out the windows?
No, I didn't see that.
God,
but I mean, who the hell would do that?
Well, out of panic. I mean, you know the building's collapsing. What are you going to do?
Yeah,
you're going to take the ride. You're going to take the ride down and hope for the best. Or
anyway, remember I was saying that I do work on the 97th floor.
Yeah.
I have a friend who made it out from that. I just got in contact with him before I called you. He got burnt from his thighs down to his feet. He was out of there. His pants were scorched. His hair was burnt. He was running through walls of flames.
War injuries, that's what they are.
Yeah, he literally was like a war veteran.
Yeah.
He has a friend who was taking digital pictures. We're going to put him up on a free internet site.
All right.
For free. I'm not trying to plug anything.
No. Well, okay. All right, someday we'll be interested in that, but right now we got to move on.
Much.
Dudes, listen, the asbestos thing, most serious. I would not kid about that.
Well,
anybody in the building covered with debris, bag your stuff and take a cold shower first.
All right, thank you, Al.
Thank you.
All right.
Remembering the tragic events of 9/11, you're listening to the Opie and Anthony Show from Tuesday, September 11th, 2001. Coming up, a portion of the Ron and Fez show from that day, and a special 9/11 roundtable discussion with the 2001 staff